Part of the reason or reasons I have been so vocal, ferociously so, about whale activism in the past few weeks, past few months, is it's actually been a confluence of several different events of my life. For one, my birthday coming up, and for another, I haven't really comprehended until a few months ago just how dire some of these whale species are existentially, existentially speaking, and this all stemmed. Maybe it's important to talk about the root of it. The root of this all started pretty much exactly 10 years ago. July 14th, 2016, I had the enormous privilege, especially since I was only a few days from being 14 years old, and I was in the water with a whale shark. So not really a whale, obviously but I was in the water with a whale shark, and it was a small one. It wasn't even a fully grown whale shark. It was only about 21, 23 feet long, and it was a female. And that's all I knew about that specimen. And it's the pictures, when you look at pictures and videos of animals like that, it doesn't do justice seeing them in person. You don't see the barnacles growing on parts of their body. You don't see the coarseness of their skin. You don't see the lack of hollowness in their body. Like there's bone inside of their body, there's flesh inside of their body, there's vital organs. And you feel that on a much more visceral level when you see them in person. And it's those stuff like that you can't really capture in photographs or videos or documentaries or even aquariums. But when you're in the water with them, it's totally different. No matter how much you try to immerse yourself, whether it's photos, videos, going to aquariums, when you're in the water with them, it's a whole league of its own. And it swam by me, and I looked at it in its eyes for about a few seconds, and still to this day, it's one of those. I believe it's been my experience that almost everybody who has lived a full life, there's those core 3 to 5 foundational sculpting moments that make up who you are, make up your being. Whatever the opposite of trauma is, because trauma fundamentally are negative moments of your life that impact you to the point where it shapes who you are for many years to come. But I think everybody, especially, particularly myself, have those same 3 to 5 positive trauma, because I've never been able to find a word for such a thing. Those certain events that happen in your life that shape who you are. I still remember it clear as day, and it has never left me. Because that's another thing that trauma has. Trauma tends to, I studied psychology a bit in college, when I was in college. And I know that trauma, one of the defining characteristics of it is it eliminates any sense of time that has happened since the traumatic event. And this was the exact same way. It doesn't feel like any time has passed, and tomorrow would mark 10 years since that's happened. And it was those very few 3 to 5 seconds that I looked at this creature in its eyes that I really just fully comprehended how fragile the creatures of this earth are, and that they do not grow on trees. They die on trees because we kill them every day, continuously, but they're not born on trees. And that's what we keep forgetting about. We keep thinking of endangered animals as a highly regenerative, like they're trees, and complex multicellular life does not work that way. It's a very, very slow incremental staircase of a process. And the only thing I have found throughout these years that has really articulated what that feels like, looking at such a large animal in a sensitive part of its body, like its eyes and stuff, is this incredible book by Heathcote Williams. It's a poetry epic book, which is kind of funny because Heathcote Williams was not really a poet, I believe. When I look at his oeuvre, his body of work, I see mostly articles in magazines, film reviews, political activism, essays particularly, and he still doesn't enter my stratum as a poet, but he did write this out of this world poetry book. It's an epic. It's titled Whale Nation, and if you have the most remote, desolate of interests into comprehending what that felt like for me, and how maybe it could help you feel the same sensation, is to get your hands on that book. And if you can't, there's a documentary you can find on YouTube of him performing it in full, and there's several other videos of him performing it. I think it's about 200 pages, maybe a little less than that, and he knows the entire thing from memory, and I've never seen anything like that before. I have never seen someone memorize an epic poem several hundred pages long from memory. I've never seen that before or since. And it's truly one of the most pulchritudinous, one of the most transcendent, one of the most resplendent works of art that I have come across in my lifetime. I feel just blessed that within this short time I have on this planet that I came across that. By the most improbable of odds, I came across it. And of course, I don't think there's anything I can really do from a performance, because obviously I spend a lot of my online life and I spend a lot of my artistic life performing poetry, and I don't think there's anything I can do that can even touch what Heathcote has done with performing his own version of it. So the most I can do is write probably the most punching excerpt of it, which I have right in front of me. And I am going to read it to you. So it's just a very poetic extract from it, and this, at least from my experience, this gives me a glimpse of what that felt like 10 years ago when I looked at this animal in the eye and had a very psychedelic experience, like out of this world. And it blows my mind almost every day that there's people that think about these large, majestic, intelligent animals and don't have any sense of that they're important. So I'm going to perform this. So I've been talking enough. I'm going to rehearse this excerpt from Whale Nation. I'm going to say it one more time. Whale Nation by Heathcote Williams. So here we go. From space, the planet is blue. From space, the planet is the territory, not of humans, but of the whale. Blue seas cover 7/10 of the Earth's surface and are the domain of the largest brain ever created, with a 50-million-year-old smile. Ancient unknown mammals left the land in search of food or sanctuary and walked into the water. Their arms and hands changed into water wings, their tails turned into boomerang-shaped tail flukes, enabling them to fly, almost weightless, through the oceans. Their hind legs disappeared, buried deep within their flanks, free from land-based pressures, free from droughts, earthquakes, ice ages, volcanoes, famine. Larger brains evolved, 10 times as old as man's. Other creatures with a larger cerebral cortex. Whale families, whale tribes, all have different songs. An acoustic picture language, spirited pulses relayed through water. At 5 times the speed sounds travel through air. Varied enough to express complex emotions, cultural details, history, news, a sense of the unknown. A lone humpback may put on a solo concert lasting for days. Within a humpback's half-hour song, there are 100 million bytes, 1 million changes of frequency, and 1 million tonal twists. An odyssey, as information-packed as Homer's, can be told in 30 minutes. 50-million-year-old sagas of continuous whale mind, accounts of the forces of nature, the minute of a shared consciousness, whale dreams, the accumulated knowledge of the past, rumors of ancestors, the Archaeoceti, with lifespans of 200 and 300 years, memories of loss, memories of ideal love, memories of meetings. End quote. So that's probably the paragon of that book, is that excerpt. And it was especially heavy reading that one of those last sentences, those last lines, the accumulated knowledge of the past, because that's the whole reason I'm doing this whale activism, is experiences that have shaped me from the past, that has permitted me the heart to care about these extraordinary animals that, for whatever goddamn reason, people don't think about or care about. And it blows my mind all the time. And I know this is very dramatic, and I'm being a little dramatic, but I hope you found joy, education, and what's the word? Enchantment, even, from this message. So, thank you very much. May God be with you.